We are live here on a Saturday morning. Welcome to you all. My name is Len Britzowitz. I am the doctor on staff here this morning. Naturopathic medical doctor, pharmacist, homeopath, and your guide to health, hopefully. We've been doing this show in some format or another for over 24 years now. Radio, TV, now YouTube. So we've gone from a blog talk radio transition to this, as well as Facebook Live. So we've gone a lot of different venues, and I personally like this one because the shows can be stored and then be referenced back. Today we're going to talk about intermittent fasting. I guarantee you've heard somebody doing this or somebody saying something about it. Maybe Dr. Oz. You know, it's probably one of the most popular health and fitness trends right now. People are using it to lose weight, improve their health, just basically simplify their lifestyle. Many studies have shown it has a powerful effect on your body and brain and may actually help you to live longer. This show will be the ultimate beginner's guide to intermittent fasting. So please stay tuned. You can share this with others, and hopefully you'll learn something today. Just so you know, the concept of intermittent fasting, or fasting in general, as most of you, I'm sure, know, goes back thousands of years into the time of Christ, when, on a spiritual front, we got ourselves away from that preoccupation with food, or that thought that says, even if I'm not hungry, it's lunchtime, let's go eat something. Even if I'm not hungry for breakfast, let's go eat something. Or let's skip breakfast and eat at 10 o'clock. And we get ourselves into these schedules where we're eating at bizarre times and we can't control our appetite. And we start to worship food. Instead of food being necessary to keep us alive, we basically live to eat. So we're going to talk about this today as a safe tool, if done with the guidance of someone that's well trained in this. And I will tell you, here at the Nutrition Shop in Peachtree City, Georgia, we have a complete staff that's well attuned to this, that can guide you. Dietitians, some of the students that we have, our massage therapist who's trained in Chinese medicine. We have a lot of different tools available for you to help you if this is something that you need to. I have a lot to share with you, so I really want to get into it right away. I'm going to give you probably the ultimate 10 reasons why you need to consider this. I'm not, as a principal today, trying to convince you to, but you need to understand what it's all about. As we do every Saturday morning, I refer to Michael Josephson, who does a syndicated column called Character Counts. I've been using him for every Saturday morning since I can't even begin to tell you. And I love to do it, to give you this Saturday morning a chance to think about this and think about your own character, the character of your family. First of all, I also want to say thank you to my friends at Chick-fil-A for the coffee to start the morning. Good coffee. Marta was a hardworking single mother. When her minister sermonized about living a life that matters, she worried that working to raise her kids and going to church wasn't enough. So on the bus to work, she made a list of other jobs she could do and volunteer work she could try. Sylvia, an elderly woman, saw the worry on Marta's face and asked what was wrong. Marta explained to her problems. Sylvia said, "Oh my, did your minister say you weren't doing enough?" "No," Marta said, "but I don't know how to live, quote, a life that matters," end quote. "You don't have to change jobs or do more volunteer work," Sylvia consoled her. "It's enough that you're a good mother. But if you want to do more, think about what you can do while you're doing what you already do. It's not about what you do, but how you do it." "You don't understand," Marta said. "I sell hamburgers. How can I make that significant?" "Well, how many people do you deal with every day?" Sylvia asks. She says, 200 to 300. Well, if you set out to cheer, encourage, teach, or inspire as many of those people as you could, a compliment, a bit of advice, a cheerful hello, a warm smile can start a chain reaction that lights up lives like an endless string of Christmas bulbs. That's just being nice, Marta protested. Right, said Sylvia, niceness can change lives. Marta looked at the old woman. What do you do? I was a housekeeper until I retired, Sylvia said. Now I just ride this bus and talk to people. Isn't that wonderful? Let's do this. 10 evidence-based health benefits of intermittent fasting. I'm going to lay it out on the line for you so that you can understand the evidence is there. Intermittent fasting basically is an eating pattern where you cycle between periods of eating and fasting. How hard is that? There are many different types of intermittent fasting, such as the 16-8 or the 5-2 method. We'll talk about that. Numerous studies shows it can have a powerful effect on your brain and your body. And from a spiritual standpoint, you would not believe the clarity that you get in your discussions with your God. Here's 10 evidence-based health benefits of intermittent fasting. Ready? Number 1, it can change the function of your cells, your genes, and your hormones. I think that's a pretty big catch-all for most of us. When you don't eat for a while, several things happen to your body. For example, your body initiates important cellular repair processes and change hormone levels to make stored body fat more accessible. Here are some of the changes that occur in your body during fasting. Number 1, insulin levels. Had 2 elderly people in here yesterday, a couple, both pre-diabetic, both overweight, and when we checked their insulin levels, they were sky high. Well on their way to becoming an insulin-dependent diabetic if we didn't do something. So we're going to instill in them intermittent fasting. Blood levels of insulin can then drop significantly, which facilitates fat burning. Number 2, human growth hormone. The blood levels of growth hormone may increase as much as 5-fold. Higher levels of growth hormone facilitate fat burning and muscle gain and have numerous other benefits. Cellular repair. The body induces important cellular repair processes, such as removing waste materials from your cells. Gene expression. There are beneficial changes in several genes and molecules related to longevity, living longer, and protection against disease, such as cancer. Many of the benefits of intermittent fasting are related to these changes in hormones, gene expression, and the function of cells. Bottom line, when you fast, insulin levels drop and human growth hormone increases. Your cells also initiate important cellular repair processes and change which genes they express. That's all number 1. So number 1, intermittent fasting changes the function of cells, genes, and hormones. Number 2, intermittent fasting can help you lose weight and belly fat. Many of those who try intermittent fasting are doing it to lose weight, okay? Generally speaking, intermittent fasting will make you eat fewer meals. Unless you compensate by eating much more during other meals, you'll end up taking in fewer calories. Additionally, intermittent fasting enhances hormone function to facilitate weight loss. Lower insulin levels, higher growth hormone levels, increased amounts of norepinephrine or noradrenaline all increase the breakdown of body fat and facilitate its use for energy. For this reason, short-term fasting actually increases your metabolic rate by 3.6 to 14%, helping you to burn more calories. If you have a sluggish metabolism, it's the key for fixing that. In other words, intermittent fasting works on both sides of the calorie equation. It boosts your metabolic rate, increases calories out, reduces the amount of food you eat, reduces the calories in. According to a 2014 review of scientific literature, intermittent fasting can cause weight loss of 3 to 8% over at least a 3-week period, 21 days. It's a huge amount. People also lost 4 to 7% of their waist circumference. I went from a 38-inch waist to a 35-inch waist. And I got to buy new belts now. You know, I just came back from burying my mother, and I wanted to thank you all for your condolences along the way. And it was amazing that, you know, you put a suit on for the funeral, and I don't ever remember a time in my life when people said to me, "You're so skinny." You know, some people that hurts. With me, it was like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. In my late 60s, I did it. All things considered, intermittent fasting is an incredibly powerful weight loss tool. Number 3, intermittent fasting can reduce insulin resistance, lowering your risk of type 2 diabetes. You know somebody that's type 2 diabetic? 1 out of every 2 of us in this country over the age of 40. Type 2 diabetes has become incredibly common. Its main feature is high blood sugar in the context of insulin resistance. Anything that reduces insulin resistance should help lower blood sugar levels and protect us against type 2 diabetes. In human studies on intermittent fasting blood sugar has been reduced by 3 to 6%, while fasting insulin has been reduced by up to 31%, which over time can save your life. What this implies is intermittent fasting is highly protective against kidney damage, one of the most severe complications of diabetes. You know what I'm saying? And the amazing thing is, unfortunately, traditional medicine, allopathic medicine, has not caught on to this yet. There's this uneasy fear of fasting. You're going to do something dangerous to yourself. Bottom line, intermittent fasting can reduce insulin resistance and lower blood sugar levels, and really works well for men. Number 4, intermittent fasting can reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. You heard? Oxidative stress is one of the steps toward aging and chronic disease and cancer. It involves unstable molecules called free radicals, which react with one other important molecules like protein and DNA and can damage them. Several studies have shown that intermittent fasting may enhance the body's resistance to oxidative stress. Can you imagine taking somebody who's in the fight for their life with cancer and introducing intermittent fasting to that? Oh no, they're going to lose too much weight. Studies have shown that intermittent fasting can reduce oxidative damage and inflammation in the body, and it has benefits against aging and the development of numerous diseases. Number 5, what's the number 1 reason for death in this country? Good. Think about it for a minute. Cardiovascular problems, heart disease. Still number 1. Been number 1, still number 1. Even with all the people stopping smoking, it's still number 1. Heart disease is the world's biggest killer. It's known that various health markers are associated with either an increased or decreased risk of heart disease. Intermittent fasting has been shown to improve numerous risk factors, including blood pressure, total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, blood triglycerides, inflammatory markers, and blood sugar levels. Super drug. Studies have shown that intermittent fasting can improve numerous risk factors for heart disease. Number 6, intermittent fasting induces various cellular repair processes. When we fast, the cells in the body initiate a cellular waste removal called autophagy. This involves the cells breaking down and metabolizing broken and dysfunctional proteins that build up in cells over time. Cellular waste. Increased autophagy may provide protection against several diseases, including the big C word, and another one that scares me, Alzheimer's disease. Do you think if we had taken some of the biblical principles of fasting and kept them into our society over time, Cancer, cardiovascular disease, and Alzheimer's wouldn't be that big of a deal as they are. Number 7, intermittent fasting may, because I got to say it that way, may help prevent cancer. Characterized by uncontrolled cellular growth. Fasting has been shown to have several beneficial effects on your metabolism that may lead to a reduced risk of cancer. Although human studies are needed, promising evidence from animal studies indicate that intermittent fasting may help prevent cancer. There's also some evidence on human cancer patients showing that fasting reduced various side effects of chemotherapy. No one would tell a cancer patient to fast, would they? Intermittent fasting has been shown to prevent cancer in animal studies, and one paper in humans shows it can reduce the side effects of chemo. Number 8, intermittent fasting is good for your brain. What's good for the body is often good for the brain as well. Intermittent fasting improves various metabolic features that are important to brain health. This includes reducing oxidative stress, reduced inflammation, a reduction in blood sugar levels, and insulin resistance, which all we talked about. Several studies have shown intermittent fasting may increase the growth of new nerve cells, which would have a benefit for brain functionality. It also increases the level of a brain hormone called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a deficiency of which has been implicated in depression. You on Lexapro? Intermittent fasting may have important benefits for brain health. It may increase the growth of new neurons and protect the brain from damage. Number 9, intermittent fasting may help prevent Alzheimer's disease, the world's most common neurodegenerative disease. There's no cure for Alzheimer's. There's not even a drug that really helps much. So preventing it and showing up in the first place is critical. Series of case reports a lifestyle intervention including daily short-term fasts was able to significantly improve Alzheimer's symptoms in 9 out of 10 patients with Alzheimer's. Yeah, take away their food. They don't want to eat anyway. Take away their food. Have it on a schedule, and there's an improvement. And number 10, intermittent fasting may extend your lifespan and help you live longer. One of the most exciting applications of intermittent fasting is its ability to extend lifespan. In some studies, the effects were quite dramatic. In animal studies, these animals that fasted every other day, eat a day, take a day off, eat a day, take a day off, intermittent, lived 83% longer. See what I said? Now that animal-based. So there's 10 pretty outstanding reasons. Let's move on. Intermittent fasting is an eating pattern that cycles between periods of fasting and eating. It's currently very popular in the health and fitness community. Let's go over some of the methods. Several different ways of doing intermittent fasting, all of which involve splitting the day or week into eating and fasting periods. So you ready? Here's some of the more popular. The 16-8 method, also called the lean gains protocol. It involves skipping breakfast. Well, I already do that. Restricting your daily eating periods to 8 hours. Ten to 7, 9 to 6. How's that? Because that helps you to fast for 16 hours. Could you do that? Could you restrict your eating to 8 hours on 16 hours off? Could you do that? Method number 2, eat, stop, and eat. This involves fasting for 24 hours once or twice a week. For example, not eating from dinner one day until dinner the next. That's what I did for 21 days. One meal a day for 21 days. And it wasn't that difficult. The last method is the 5-2 method. With this message, you consume only 500 to 600 calories on 2 non-consecutive days a week, but eat normally the other 5. So Sunday, Monday, eat normally. Tuesday, 500 calories. Wednesday, Thursday, normal. Friday, 500 calories. Saturday, Sunday, normal. By reducing your calorie intake, all these methods can cause weight loss, as long as you don't compensate by eating much more during eating periods. Many people find the 16-8 method to be the simplest, most sustainable. Let's talk about this being a weight loss tool. Weight loss is the most common reason people try this. By making fewer meals, intermittent fasting can lead to an automatic reduction in caloric intake. Additionally, intermittent fasting changes hormone levels to facilitate weight loss, which is what we just talked about. By helping you eat fewer and burn more, intermittent fasting works. It could be a very powerful weight loss tool. A 2014 review study found that this eating pattern can cause a 3 to 8% weight loss over 3 to 24 weeks. According to the same study, people also lost 4 to 7% of their waist circumference. We went over a lot of the health benefits. Eating healthy is simple, but can be incredibly hard to maintain. I'll be honest with you. One of the main obstacles is all the work required to plan and to cook healthy meals. Intermittent fasting can make things easier as you don't need to plan so many meals. For this reason, intermittent fasting is very popular among the life hacking crowd as it improves your health while simplifying your life at the same time. So one of the major benefits of this is it makes healthy eating much simpler. So who should be careful or avoid it? Intermittent fasting is certainly not for everybody. If you're already underweight or have a history of eating disorders, you shouldn't do this. Should women fast? There's some evidence that intermittent fasting may not be as beneficial for women as it is for men. For example, one study showed it improved insulin sensitivity in men, but worsened blood sugar control in women. Although human studies on this topic are unavailable, studies in animals have found that intermittent fasting can make female rats emaciated. I don't know. Safety and side effects. Hunger is the main side effect of intermittent fasting. You may also feel weak and your brain might not perform as well while you're going through it. But on the other side, when you get to the other side, it's amazing. So those problems can be temporary, as it can take some time for your body to adapt to this new meal schedule. If you have a medical condition, naturally you should consult with your doctor before trying this. Or work with somebody who's trained to help you make that decision, like we do here at the Nutrition Shop. If you have diabetes, if you have problems with blood sugar regulation, you have low blood pressure, you take a lot of medications, we got to talk. If you have a history of eating disorders, or a woman who's thinking of having a baby, a woman with a history of amenorrhea or missed cycles, or pregnant or breastfeeding, this isn't for you. All that being said, intermittent fasting has an outstanding safety profile. There's nothing dangerous about not eating for a while if you're healthy. The most common side effect, again, is hunger. And you really should consult with somebody before you start. Frequently asked questions. Can I drink liquids during a fast? Yes. Coffee, tea, cheers, and other non-caloric beverages are fine. Don't add sugar to your coffee. Don't add milk or cream. Try to drink it black. Coffee can be particularly beneficial since it does help to calm your hunger. Question number 2, isn't it unhealthy to skip breakfast? No. Problem is that most stereotypical breakfast skippers of unhealthy lifestyles, if you make sure to eat healthy food for the rest of the day, then the practice is perfectly healthy. Number 3, can I take my supplements while fasting? Absolutely. Keep in mind that some supplements like fat-soluble vitamins may work better when taken with meals, so save them for the evening meal. Number 4, can I work out while I'm fasting? Yep. Fasting workouts are fine. Some people recommend taking branched-chain amino acids, BCAAs, which we have here at the shop, before your workout. Number 5, will fasting cause muscle loss? All weight loss methods can cause muscle loss, which is why it's important to lift weights and keep your protein intake high. So when we're doing that one meal a day, it needs to be about 40% minimum protein. Number 6, will fasting slow down my metabolism? No. Studies have shown short-term fasts actually boost your metabolism. So how do you get started? First of all, again, allowing your child to fast is probably not a good idea. So let's just put that aside too. Chances are you've already done some intermittent fasting in your life. If you've eaten dinner, then slept late, not eating till lunch the next day, you probably already fasted for 16 hours. Some people instinctively eat this way. They simply don't feel hungry in the morning. Many people consider the 16-8 method the simplest, most sustainable way of intermittent fasting. You might want to try that first. Experiment with different approaches and find something that you enjoy and how it fits your schedule. So again, in summary, it's recommended to start with the 16-8 method, then perhaps later move on to longer fasts. It's important to experiment and find one that works for you. Intermittent fasting is not something that anyone needs to do. It's simply one of many lifestyle strategies that can improve your health. Eating real food, exercising, and taking care of your sleep are still some of the most important factors to focus on. If you don't like the idea of fasting, then you can safely ignore this. Okay? At the end of the day, there's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to nutrition. Intermittent fasting is great for some people, but not for others. The only way to find out which group you belong to is to try it out. We can help you on that front. Okay, I'm just going to go through some of the studies that I have in a file. I've had a file that I've been accumulating for a while. Most of these studies are relatively new. The first one comes from Johns Hopkins. This was last year at Christmas time. For many people, the New Year's is a time to adopt new habits as renewed commitment to personal health. Newly enthusiastic fitness buffs pack into gyms, 25 cents down, $10 a month, right? Grocery stores are filled with shoppers eager to try out new diets. But does scientific evidence support the claims made for these diets? In a review article published December 26 in the edition of the New England Journal of Medicine, Johns Hopkins Medicine neuroscience scientist Mark Matson concludes intermittent fasting does. An array of human studies have shown that alternating between times of fasting and eating supports cellular health, probably triggering an age-old adaptation of periods of food scarcity called metabolic switching. Such a switch occurs when cells use up their stores of rapidly accessible sugar-based fuel and begin converting fat into energy in a slower metabolic process. Fasting kills cancer cells of the most common type of childhood leukemia. You didn't think you were going to get that today, did you? University of Texas Southwestern. Intermittent fasting inhibits the development and progression of one of the most common types of childhood leukemia, researchers have found. They found that fasting both inhibits the initiation and reverses the progression of two subtypes of acute lymphoblastic leukemia. The most common type of leukemia found in children. It's sad. Researchers created some models of acute leukemia and tried various diet restriction plans. They used green and yellow fluorescent proteins to mark the cancer cells so that they could trace them and determine if their levels rose or fell in response to fasting. And guess what? They went down. On and off fasting helps fight obesity, study finds. Springer University, up to 16 weeks of intermittent fasting without otherwise having to count calories, helps fight obesity and other metabolic disorders. Such fasting already shows benefits after only 6 simple weeks. University of Southern California, fasting weakens cancer in mice. Man may not live by bread alone, but cancer in animals appears less resilient, according to a study that found chemotherapy drugs work better when combined with cycles of short, severe fasting. Even fasting on its own effectively treated a majority of cancers tested in animals, including cancers from human cells. The study in Science Translational Medicine, part of the Science family of journals, found that 5 out of 8 cancer types responded to fasting alone. Intermittent fasting may help those with diabetes and cardiovascular disease, studies suggest. Intermittent fasting is all the rage, but scientific evidence showing how such regimens affect human health is not always clear-cut. Intermittent fasting on a given number of consecutive or alternate days has recently been hailed as a path to weight loss and improved cardiovascular risk. A team led by James Brown from Aston University has evaluated the various approaches to intermittent fasting in the scientific literature. They searched specifically for advantages and limitations in treating obesity and type 2 diabetes using fasting diets. The basic format of intermittent fasting is to alternate days eating normally with days when calorie consumption is restricted. This can be either done on alternate days or where 2 days of each week are classified as fasting days. That's what I said. On those particular days, there are specific ways that we can even add a low-calorie, keto-based protein shake, like our Net Zero Keto, which can start your day the right way. Yale University, researchers at Yale School of Medicine have found that a compound produced by the body when fasting can block a part of the immune system involved in several inflammatory disorders such as type 2 diabetes, atherosclerosis, and Alzheimer's. In their study published in the February 16th online issue of Nature Medicine, the researchers described how this compound called beta-hydroxybutyrate inhibits a gene in the body which is part of a complex set of proteins called inflammasome. Inflammasome drives the inflammatory response to several disorders including autoimmune disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, atherosclerosis, and autoinflammatory disorders. Two more. How fasting can improve overall health. University of California, Irvine. Researchers found evidence that fasting affects circadian clocks in the liver and the skeletal muscle, causing them to rewire their metabolism, which can ultimately lead to improved health and protection against age-associated diseases. Lastly, clinical trial shows alternate day fasting a safe alternative to calorie restriction. That calorie restriction thing over the course of decades has never really worked. Most people can't do it. The largest clinical study of its kind looked at the effects of strict alternate day fasting in healthy people, shown a number of health benefits. The participants alternated 36 hours of zero calorie intake with 12 hours of unlimited eating. This isn't the 12-24. This is 12-36. You'd have to map it out. If you're going to start out eating a breakfast on Sunday, fasting for 36 hours, which is going to take you to dinner on Tuesday, then eating, and fasting, then eating. It's tough. That's a tough one. But that had dramatic effects for total body health. There's your ultimate beginner's guide. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. And lastly, from yesterday's New England Journal of Medicine, intermittent fasting has salutary effects and should be instituted into every medical practice in this country, said Dr. Mort Mattson, co-author of a recent New England Journal of Medicine review on the topic, and discusses how he assesses the practice and how he's managed to skip breakfast for the past 30 years or so. It started a big to-do with Dr. Oz, but when you're doing it for the right reason, not being lazy, not just not eating breakfast because I'm just too busy, but planning out and mapping out a month at a time so that we know when, how, and why you're doing this, it can have amazing effects. Well, I got that in 34 minutes. I could go on for another hour. My strong suggestion is if you're watching this and this stirred something in you, give us a call, set up a time. We will make sure that you are okay for this, and we'll get you started. You can reach out to us through our website at the Nutrition Shop. That shop is SHOPPE at the end, .net. thenutritionshop.net. All the information on us is there. Or you can call us directly at 678-228-8900, 678-228-8900. It was a good Saturday morning. Hopefully you learned something. We're here every day, Monday through Friday at 12 noon, doing YouTube Live. Why don't you join us? Spread the word. We do this. This is our 24th year of getting your daily dose of health talk out. It's not easy, but we love doing it. On Monday, we're going to talk about a prep called theanine and how it may improve your brain. That'll be the subject matter for Monday's show. God bless you, folks. Have a blessed weekend. And again, thank you for all the condolences and all the congratulations on the birth of my grandson, Cooper Benedict, cutest little kid in the world. And congratulations to my daughter and her husband. Have a great, healthy weekend, folks, and I'll see you back here on Monday, okay? Take care. God bless.